Rezthapoet. Rezthapoet. I am that pride. The fruits beneath the tree. I am that bride. The beauty adorning the heritage. I am the son of lions by generations. Generation I am. X. Generation Y. Generation Z. A new sprout. Sprite of trite lineage. Apparent. Apparent. A patent I am. Blue by the blood. Blue pill beneath the skin. On my day of birth, I came by umbilical. Blue by the cord. The trumpet was blown like in biblical times. So cynical minds align for this blue-eyed melanin bundle of royalty. A gathering of Thomases, doubtful eyes before whom I was born, of no loyalty to dreams. I beam sweetness to life like molasses. Adebola, I am the crown to greatness. I am the throne to greatness. I am the twin to whom defeat and mediocrity are no food. I am the tasteless. I am that twin. Ocean. Hallelujah could be. It's right, so good.
I am.
I
am.
But you know what? You have to have a good command of the English language or your own language, really, to be able to string all those words together.
The fusion of English and then Yoruba and then some of the. It's really beautiful.
It is.
You know.
It is. Well, we are not the artists. We do have an artist here.
I think I have to be one of the artists one of the days.
It will be nice, actually.
Yeah.
You'll do it in Benue.
Yeah, of course. I'll do it in Tiv, do it in Idoma, do it in Igede, do it in Igala, do it in all the languages.
Wow. Our artist here is Adebola Afolabi, better known as Rezthapoet. Fantastic. It's good to have you. Of course, he's a spoken word artist, like you heard there in that video, and you actually watched. Very interesting one. Spoken word. The art seems to be is gaining a lot of prominence in these parts.
True. These are interesting times, I must say. I will say generally across board there's a renaissance of all the different art forms across different art genres. I would say inspired greatly by the need to share through social media amongst the young people. That's a big contribution to that. And I also think with the disruption that technology is bringing, there's also that competition between, amongst, don't let me say competition, but there's that desire amongst brands, even government, to approach and speak to people differently. And so niche markets are starting to get specific attentions, whatever speaks to them. So therefore, whatever mediums can be used to reach them. If you are into visual arts, then those artists are now becoming more prominent. You've got Instagram that also gives, because the cost of reaching out to bigger audiences now is much lower, unlike in the past when you probably need to have a big PR budget, a proper, just with your phone, and pictures that you take, you can take pictures of your work and put it on Instagram, for example. You can reach 10,000 people in 1 hour, you know. So people now are able to cultivate followings, and which also you can connect that following in the digital space to real world, because it's real people behind those phones, those accounts and everything. And so there's a renaissance. People are getting to express themselves more. You can write a post on Facebook and just say what's on your mind. People say people are not reading. I say no, people are reading, because all of us are writing. We are writing on Twitter, we're writing on Facebook, and we always have something to share. If it's not personal, it's our perspective on the political landscape or what is going on in the world around us and all of that. So,
well, when people say young people are not reading, maybe it's the context, because the point there is, when it comes to reading, growing up when we're younger, or maybe the older generation believes in either you're reading journals and papers like this, or you're bringing the prose, the books, you know, the big books, and then you're reading.
Yeah.
But right now, you just glance through, you just glance through, see the first liner, and then you move to something else, you see the next liner, and then you move to something else.
Like Nigerians don't have the patience.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, the videos.
The brevity of it is what makes it more interesting.
Yeah, you just want to get the whole idea in the first line. If you're not getting it, you move to something else. If it's too bulky, oh my God, you move to something else.
True.
So do we see that as reading?
There are readers and there are people that are just scanning through, and they're scanners.
Exactly, scanners. I like
they're
the
scanners. Yeah. But the truth of the matter is, with the opportunity that has been presented by technology, also there's also the challenge that has come with it, right? Which is why you see people pay more attention to captions, because you want a clickbait. With that click, your number is done. It doesn't matter whether the person looks at what is being spoken about in the context or the context of what has been spoken about. The other thing is also because of information overload that has also come with technology and all that, you find that not only young people, everybody is now dealing with short attention span. So people now, brevity and simplicity are even becoming more important in communication. So what are you saying with your art? What are you saying with your communication, with your message? If you can't say it quickly, then you lose the audience.
You lose the audience.
It's the times that we live in.
That's the point. So what does it take really to be a good, you know, spoken word artist? I mean, I'm thinking, because I've listened to quite a number of them, you know, you go to this cafe and that, especially on the island, you know, it's always very, very interesting. And when they actually hand you the mic, you're amazed that you too can actually do some small, just like Mike was just, you know, inspired.
I was just imitating
But what
him.
does it really take to be a good, you know, spoken word artist?
First, I would say understand the art form.
Okay.
As it's true with every art form that sparks your interest, what does it really take? So there are different, there's the writing side of it, there's the performance side of it, and there's the speaking side of it. Okay. You can just get on stage. It depends on how much you want to stretch yourself as a person and where you place the bars for yourself, you know. There are times I also see spoken word that I don't like. I say this, like some people, for example...
Is it because the person might not be making sense? Or the way they're delivering it?
Maybe I'm somewhat of a purist in some sense. Okay. In the fact that I see someone who is purely a motivational speaker, but sees that spoken word is actually getting their attention. And you can have motivational message in spoken word, but doesn't mean that the art of public speaking is exactly spoken word. So spoken word is performance art in itself. There's poetry in it. You need to make use of the tools, that's the figures of speech, metaphors, the rhymes, the similes. Doesn't mean you have to deploy all of it at once.
You can even rhymes, eh?
Rhymes, rhythm, like I use a lot of rhyme. I don't see myself writing without using rhyme. But I'm not a rapper. I won't come and sell myself to anyone as a rapper. I'm a spoken word artist. Okay. And what's the meaning of rap? Rhythm and poetry. There's poetry in rap anyways. So that explains the link.
Really? Is that what rap means?
Rhythm and poetry.
I didn't know that.
Oh, okay, rap. R-A-P, rhythm and poetry. You see? He just took us to the classroom.
Learn every day.
Well, the point there is we grew up listening to rap, Tupac and all of that, and then rap is just rap. You just say you're rapping
since
something.
You even mentioned Tupac, I would think that Tupac was a spoken word artist because of the way he actually delivered his lyrics.
By delivery, Tupac is not deemed as a spoken word artist, but he's recognized and respected as a poet. His words, his lyrics is clear. He writes his lyrics from the perspective of a poet, and he expresses himself as a poet. He also presents himself, he has presented himself as a poet as well. There are documented poetry of his that have been published and shared with the world and all that.
All right, but away from Tupac, back to Rez the Poet.
Yes.
Here in Nigeria, when it comes to acceptance of the spoken word, how much of the spoken word is being accepted by Nigerian audience or people who want to consume entertainment from the spoken word window?
The acceptance from within the middle class upwards a little bit, it's very, very high. Rightly so. The level of education is different, the level of exposure to media, to different cultures by travel. All of these things play a contributory factor, or a part of the reasons why people of such status can easily connect to spoken word. Now, below that doesn't mean that people are not connected. It's all about where the critical mass is. So at the moment, the critical mass, speaking to the niche specifically, is within that class of the society. Now, as a person, I also think it's not an art form that is totally new. It's evolved in different forms and shapes. There is that popular saying about the Malu that went to Yankee and returned as corned beef. You've heard that before. So let me break it down. The beef, the cow.
You can break it down, yeah.
The cow
that
is slaughtered and exported to Europe and it's
Argentina and all the rest of them, all those places where corned
as
beef comes
packaged corned beef in a can. Having gone through the industrial process and preservation and everything, and it now looks very exotic and it looks very appealing. That's, for me, that's like the case of spoken word. Spoken word belongs to us. Spoken word started from West Africa here, amongst the griots, not only Nigeria,
the griots,
Gambia, the oratory expression of oral expression of tradition and culture, how our history was always documented. This is pre-slavery. Now, take the slave trade, bring it back. It explains how, I would think, I don't have the numbers, but about 70% to 80% of the people who were enslaved were West Africans.
Actually from
West Africans. So that explains how the art form had traveled through the plantation, and of that art form to the Awis that you have, the poems and the performance poetry that we have in our culture, what it did was to travel over generation, 400s,
and it changed form.
The language changed because when people got on plantation, they lost their identity, they lost their language, and then they adopted the language of the slave masters, which is English. And then, but a lot of the instruments were not lost. The conga always stayed with them. So in 1968, there's this group of people called the Last Poets. They made the first spoken word album recorded, and that spoken word album is what inspired hip hop music that you know today.
Wow.
So it's actually at the very foundation of hip hop.
It's at the very foundation of hip hop.
You know what? We're not going to let you go without hearing from you, because look, you can talk and talk and talk and talk. We want to see this, or hear the spoken word from you. I know, I'm sure you have some political commentary, especially as it affects goings on in the country right now. Do you have any piece that you can deliver for us?
I have something I can share at the moment, and maybe I can just. I believe that the problem that we have as a people is the problem of one. It's not a problem of leadership. It speaks to the problem of leadership, but the bigger problem is problem of followership, because the leaders will always be chosen from someone who was once a follower. So I think we all need to be responsible for our society. So it's really deep for me. We can explore into identity and whatnot, and what it brings, how we all can be one as a community, as a family, as a nation, and all of that. But if each individual can fix himself and takes responsibility for the environment, for the society, for the nation, then maybe we can start that journey to being where we want to be. So this piece is titled One and the Same.
All right.
Yeah. Do you want me to take it on now?
Go ahead. Please. Go ahead. I have my paper and pen now. You're taking me to the classroom. Maybe I have to do some writing.
Okay. We are one and the same. Keith and King. Subjects and kings, peasants and creme de la creme, a self-righteous people of the same like origin, oscilling, tussling, strong versus weaklings, muscling, African, West African, the collective group known as Nigerians. Population running in hundreds of millions. Stolen money running in hundreds of billions. Bully on van, ran the bullet path on pants, on rants and claims, seeking hydrants as angry youths turned robbers, like the tyrants that mean, that came, that changed clothes from khakis to muftis. From out of saints we made con artists, 419ers, kidnappers, mughals and magas. Also were made from heart of saints, like the world that's run out of paint. We live in the black book. The thought of that took me on the flashback to abstract, but I got back to me, Nigeria as I stand. I stand an embodiment of beggars and leaders, borrowers and followers, smileys and sufferers, repping the smart, the daft, the slow, the fast, the hard-working Joe and the burglar. The Constitution chapters, asking myself what the difference is between politicians and fraudsters.
Ooh.
Whoa. Whoa. That was deep.
Very deep. That was. But you really have to have a lot of words. I mean, your vocabulary has to be way up there.
It's wonderful. But in all of those things you put together, when you translate that, or maybe when you begin to add rhythm, and sound.
Yeah.
And then it seemed like it changes into a music, kind of. Would it still be spoken word in that regard?
It is spoken word, and that is also part of my own approach. I try to use a lot of rhyme and rhythm because I think I need to sustain your attention. And because there's a lot of words, you can't get it all at once. So there are lines that will come at you, like even with the normal music that we listen to every day, it takes repeated listening to get full grasp of it. So I have just that one chance to get
Rez the poet, and you have taken a very good chance delivering a message to our political class, and not just the political class, to all Nigerians.
Leaders and followers. We must thank you, Rez the poet, for coming. We're certainly going to leave them with one of your performances. But just before we go, we have to let you know that the views and reaction of our resource persons on the topics discussed on the program today are their views and have no connection with TVC News. We have to really establish that. We won't be able to go into all the papers
no reminders of the papers.
Have a great weekend ahead. It's a wet day, so if you're driving, be careful. I am Mike Okwoche.
And I'm Ngozi Alebu. Oh, enjoy a rewarding weekend.
Yes.
Rez.
We'll leave you with Rez.
The beauty,
thanks for having
adorning the heritage.
Thank you so much.
I am the son of lions by generations. Generation I am. X, Generation Y, Generation Z. A new sprite of trite lineage. Apparent, apparent, a patent I am. Blue by the blood, blue pill beneath the skin. On my day of birth, I came by umbilical. Blue by the cord, the trumpet was blown like in biblical times. So cynical minds align for this blue-eyed melanin bundle of royalty. A gathering of Thomases, doubtful eyes before whom I was born, of no loyalty to dreams. I beam sweetness to life like molasses. Adebola I am. The crown to greatness I am. The throne to greatness I am. The twin to whom defeat and mediocrity are no food. I am the tasteless. I am that twin. O ṣeun, o ṣeun, o ṣeun. Ọlálẹ̀ lójú kò bí ọ. Wá ṣe rẹ̀. Ìjìrì ara ìsokùn. Ẹgúnjọ bí arọ́mọsẹ̀. Òde kílékún. Okun ọ̀dẹ̀dẹ̀ tẹrùtẹrù. Wíní lójú orogún. Ìjìwòrò lójú ìyá rẹ̀. Ọ̀bẹ kìsì bẹ́kẹ́sẹ́. Ọ̀fẹsẹ̀ méjèèjì bẹ́ sílé alákìsà. Ọmọ sọ alákìsà di oní igbá aṣọ. Bùnmi ìbá ọrẹ́lẹ̀. Èmi ń padà lẹ́yìn rẹ̀. Àtètèjí onílẹ̀ ìgbálẹ̀. Ẹ̀dùn àgbá orí igi rẹ́fẹ́rẹ́fẹ́. Ojú ní pókí, èrù ní gọ̀lọ̀. Èmi lẹ jí rí o, èmi lẹ jí rí o. Ìbejì ara ìsọ̀kan.